Let's begin with the definition. What is a life transition? Van Gennep called them bridges that connect different periods of our lives. William Bridges, in his 1980 book Transitions, called them inner reorientations. I like these definitions, but to me they miss a number of ingredients. First, while transitions clearly involve challenging periods of bewilderment and turmoil, they also involve vibrant periods of exploration and reconnection. Second, transitions are also remarkably inventive periods. We don't just bury the old, we also give birth to the new. Finally, transitions are deeply personal times when we revisit the values we hold most dear and rebalance how we spend our time. My definition: a transition is a vital period of adjustment, creativity, and rebirth that helps one find meaning after a major life disruption. In my experience, we do one of two things when we enter a transition. Either we make a 212-item to-do list and say, I'll get through it in a weekend and be the best ever. Or we lie in a fetal position under the covers with a cat and say, I'll never get through this. Neither is all that effective. Instead, look at enough of these times and certain patterns become clear. For starters, Van Gennep was right. Transitions involve 3 phases. I call them the long goodbye, in which you mourn the old you, the messy middle, in which you shed habits and create new ones, and the new beginning, in which you unveil your fresh self. Where previous scholars were off is that these phases don't necessarily happen in order. Bridges, for example, insisted that these 3 stages of a life transition must happen in chronological sequence. That idea may sound good on paper, but it's not how we live in real life. Take a simple transition that everyone understands, like a divorce. Under Van Gennep's model, you would first have to leave your marriage, then go through a period of being lost, then enter a new relationship. But we all know that's not how it always works. Some people start a new relationship before they've left the old one, meaning they're in the new room before they've left the old. Even people who leave their relationship first, if they have children, often have to go back into that old room to be a parent. Simply put, there is no single way to go through a life transition. Just as people live life out of order, they go through transitions out of order. So where should you begin? Wherever you want. As a rule, I found that each person is especially good at one of the 3 phases and especially bad at another. I call them our transition superpower and our transition kryptonite. 4 in 10 people say they're bad at the long goodbye. Maybe you're a people pleaser or prone to denial. Okay, this phase is hard for you. But others excel at turning the page. If that's your superpower, perfect. Start with the long goodbye. Half don't like the messy middle. They find all the stops and starts exhausting and frustrating. But others thrive during this time. I spoke with a consultant who took a new job, moved his family across the country, then started a few days after the Great Recession. Sales cratered, and soon he was out of a job. But this man was a consultant. He loved making to-do lists, reaching out to his network, analyzing options. Within months, he moved to Africa with his family to take a job running a nonprofit. The point is, transitions are hard. Start with whatever skills you already have. Build confidence and go from there. But one warning, you will have to go through all 3 of the phases. Even people who try to ignore their emotions during a transition will eventually have to confront them. Even people who fear getting bogged down in the messy middle will eventually have to go through that period of betwixt and between.